just a few more. That's it. 198, 199. One more and it's a new record. Watch your balance, man. Keep your arms straight. And there we go. 200. Let me help you back up to your feet. Come on. Go grab that towel. I'll fetch you some water. Here, take this. Well done, by the way. 200 flat. That's a personal best. Didn't think you'd be able to reach that many with just one natural arm. But you've surprised me. I don't think we'll be breaking any planetary records, though. But it's a start. Speaking of the arm, how is she today? Still locking up? Yeah. Well, so we've got, I'm afraid, at the moment. They use muscle modules. They're kind of old, kind of unreliable. But good news. I'll be able to fix her up better when we arrive at the Solaris Terminal. We can get you some stronger modules, maybe even fit you with a Thalaxian dart. You'll never know when you need one of those. But if you're undecided, the nav says we have a few hours left before we hit Solaris. So let me know before then. I'll change my route to include the scrap shop. Oh, and don't worry about the nav, by the way. I fixed most of the glitches. I think I might have caused the sudden loss in our gravity the other day when I spilled my beer on it. Yeah, seriously. I'd missed the cup holder and poured the whole bottle onto the console. We're lucky that it was just the gravity that had deactivated. We could have been so much worse. Sudden depressurization could have suffocated us. Sudden loss of thermal engines would have stranded us in space. And a sudden loss of our proton lasers would have made it impossible to find anyone that wanted to board us. We would have been Sorry. That was in poor taste. Still not used to having company. I spend most of my airtime talking to myself, so just go ahead and forget I said that. Sorry. Anyway, because there were still some issues with the nav, I'll be taking control of the ship when we get close, so don't worry. You, though, should be getting some more rest. I know that you haven't been sleeping much recently, and don't try and deny it. I've heard you crying out in your sleep. You keep reliving the event, don't you? I know you do. I didn't want to say anything because we don't know each other all that well. And despite what we've already been through, I just don't think we know each other enough to talk about things like that. But I think you should get some help. Or if not, at least get yourself a neural augmentation to control your dreams. You might want to start a new life. But if you're screaming out potential evidence in your sleep, that's probably not a good thing. Just saying. There's an org center on Solaris. I suggest you go. The only issue with that, though, is that you need some kind of ID. And I know you don't want to get one at the moment. You want to remain a ghost. And to the rest of the universe, you, my friend, are dead. And I recommend you keep it that way. But for things like that, you're going to need some kind of ID, fake or not. And fakes aren't easy to come by anymore. It's something that I can help get for you, but it'll take a few weeks. And we don't know when your people of interest are going to be around here again. Until you decide to have a temporary identity, I recommend not having too many conversations with anyone official looking. Alright? Can I be honest with you for a second? When I found you out in space, in that obliterated passenger ship. I thought you would have been too messed up to have survived the journey here to Solaris. I honestly thought that you would have just died on my ship from your injuries. Even if you had survived, you might have gone mad from the trauma of losing your family and the loss of your left arm. To me, though, anyone who's gone through that usually doesn't want to run towards the people that did that to them. It's usually in the other direction, on the next light ship far, far away. But not you. You've surprised me. Not only have you survived, but after getting to know you, it's become obvious that you weren't going to stop until you had some type of retribution. And if we're being honest, I was a little afraid of you. But I understood why. But if that were me, I would have just hired some people. A slick shooting Raz pilot or something. There's plenty of them around now. After the last Alliance war, most of the pilots are like yours truly. Someone in need of all the credits they can get, and will do anything to get them. Someone would have at least been stupid enough to try it. But you refused to help. You said you wanted to do it on your own, which I think is a little old-fashioned, but I can't criticize you too much for it. Revenge by your own hand for some people is just how it is. Now, listen closely. I've done some digging through the chatter about the people responsible for what happened to you. They're called the Black Hole Gang, also known as the Hope Takers. They're not the kind of people you want to be on the bad side of. They're mostly ex-military types, either gone rogue or seeking some kind of sick thrill. They do some pretty nasty stuff to whoever happens to be flying in their sectors. There's some scary motherfuckers, no doubt. Look, what happened to you, yes, was sick. No man should ever have to watch their loved ones die. But to take them on single-handed, and with the small amount of weapons we got, it's suicide. And I know you want revenge, but is it really something worth dying for? Fair enough. You can have your death wish, but I'd sleep a lot easier at night knowing that you knew the plan inside and out. So let's go over the plan again, shall we? Now, as much as I don't like what you're doing, I think what we came up with will result in the least amount of heat for both of us, at least. So, starting from the beginning. Using the needler pistol that I gave you, the aim is to make the murders look like a faction hit. We know that they'll be mainly found in the south side of the Solaris Terminal due to their control of the credit rings. As needlers are the weapons most commonly used by the Crimson Stars, their rival gang, need to leave it at the scene of the crime. Since you are dead, the Black Hole Gang won't even look for you, and will go straight to their likely enemies. And at this terminal, again, that is the Crimson Stars. If you pull this off correctly, it'll bring both sides into the pool at the terminal. Not just that, both the locations of the 4 men we know are personally responsible for your attack. They'll either die in the conflict and be arrested by the Space Knights, or attempt to flee. This is where the isolation bombs come in handy. Now this, you cannot be seen carrying. This is something that most colonies and star empires have banned. The only reason I'm giving you this is because I want you to get what you want. And this is how you do it. No one on the terminal can know that you have this. Once you've used them, throw the detonator out the airlock, get rid of it. Now, as I was saying, when you see them fleeing or fighting with the Crimson Stars, configure the isolator bombs to target them one at a time. If you mess this up, it could result in accidentally killing innocent people or causing the whole terminal to explode. And seeing as I'm going to be on the terminal, I suggest not messing up. When configured, just throw them towards the target and hide out of sight. The targeting system will locate them through its optics and detonate within 20 seconds of being thrown. Wait for the first bomb to go off before starting work with the second. If all things go to plan, it shouldn't take long for all of those scum sacks to be dead. And you'll have your revenge. And your family can finally rest in peace. But before you do that, remember my offer. This doesn't have to be the life for you. If you do this, you could be killed, captured by the Knights, or worse, found by them, and made to suffer the worst kind of tortures imaginable. Now that job that I have here in Solaris, that I too need to take care of, it isn't as satisfying as revenge, but it's safe and good money. You can come along if you like. We can split the credits, and I could always use the company. These last 2 weeks, since I pulled you from the wreckage of your ship, they've been the most pleasant 2 weeks I've had in a good long while. I'd like to keep our friendship going. Anyway, the offer is always on the table if you need it. I've got a feeling that you won't be changing your mind on getting your revenge. So, if you're really going to go ahead and do this, I recommend that you get as much rest as you can. You'll need all the strength and attention you can get on making sure that you come out of this without needing another replacement limb. I'll make sure your arm is properly calibrated before we separate. You've got the tools and the plan to get this job done. But do you really have what it takes to do something like this? Ask yourself that before you head over to the credit rings. Do you want to be like the black holes and crimson stars? There's a whole galaxy out there, and you can start a new life. Your family will never come back, I know. But I don't think they would want you to die like this. I know I've said all this before, and I'm just rambling now. But I want you to think this through. You know my offer. It'll always be here if you need it. Now, get some rest. I'll wake you up when we arrive.